You actually live near a nuclear processing plant. Could you tell us about that?
Yes, Fernald Nuclear Processing here in Cincinnati. It ran from the 50s and it closed in, I believe, the late 80s. Well, they had an issue. Fernald processed uranium for nuclear weapons, and in 1984, they found that it had been releasing millions of pounds of uranium dust into the air, and that caused a major radioactive contamination. And actually, a study done 10 years later even found that the people that lived there, maybe within 6 to 12 miles of the facility, had much higher rates of cancer, like melanoma. Well, there were 11 cases as opposed to the national average of 6 cases. Of prostate cancer, there were 39 cases as opposed to a national average of, say, 25 cases. So there actually were elevated cases of cancer. But something tragic happened at the Fernald plant. And actually, it's very similar to what could have happened in the movie, The China Syndrome. A gentleman who worked the night shift there named Dave Box, he's the 39-year-old pipe fitter. He disappeared during one of the graveyard shifts, and they reported him missing, and they eventually found his body. They discovered him inside a uranium processing furnace located in Plant 6. Eesh. You know, the company said there was no foul play. However, the man was found dead. And they actually, a lot of theories surrounding it are he might have been a whistleblower for the 84 leak. Told the press that, you know, we have a leak here. And
so, I mean, what you're referring to in the China Syndrome, Jack Lemmon, he finds some issues with the power plant that have to do with the construction company that made it. And when he talks to the man who did some of these inspections, he's basically told, do you know what you're doing? This construction company has its own personal security force. The company that made the Ventana, the fictional Ventana nuclear power plant, is trying to get a license for another nuclear power plant. And if news gets out of how serious the near-miss accident was, or that there were oversights in the inspections of the Ventana plant, then they are not going to get this new license to build the new plant, which would obviously be them losing billions and billions of dollars. If we're talking about corporate responsibility, then I always go back to like the cigarette industry. Cigarette industry, which has killed millions, I mean millions is generous. I would say probably hundreds of millions of people over its existence. Are the people in the nuclear industry like, well, geez, like we wouldn't do that. I mean, come on, are we monsters? We don't care about money that much. But I think just time after time, we see with corporations that they're willing to take enormous risks or do things that are purposefully damaging to humans and the environment. I think we're told, well, this government agency is unimpeachable. They are not corruptible. But I feel like we see corruption going up to the very highest level of government all the time. I find it hard to believe that somehow the nuclear industry is this kind of paragon of honesty. Right. I don't see why they would be, because in my mind, a corporation is just a way to essentially concentrate the greed of many, many people and take out the accountability. I couldn't agree more. In fact, I think they have more stake in being dishonest with us. This can cause cancer in people, and cancer doesn't show up overnight. So unlike an oil spill, which it's right there, if you have radiation in the air, it's not something you can see, smell, or necessarily feel right away. It's something that will down the road cause cancer, and they can get away with a lot more because of that.